Hello, hello! Today I will be commentating on a premium that was given to me by a viewer on my stream called Meow. I think this was mostly given to me as a troll gift, since people tend to think the Ishizuchi is quite terrible, but I honestly don't think it's that bad. Now, the ship is like a combination of the Myogi and the Wyoming. The Wyoming beats it easily in how quickly it turns, but this one on the other hand beats it in speed significantly, as it can do 27.5 knots. The anti-air on the Ishi is absolute garbage, not even worth discussing. It's a complete joke. You won't be shooting down any planes, so don't expect to. The concealment, well, if you look at the minimap, you can see the huge white ring. That's my concealment radius, 16.1 kilometers, and that's with the camo, the premium camo that comes with the ship. So, and the dotted line is my range. You can see that this ship is spotted several kilometers before it's even able to shoot at anything. So that's obviously a significant weakness. The range is only 12.9, and this is where it loses to pretty much all other T4 battleships. I think, at least. I think the Wyoming even has better range than it, but the range is obviously one of the major weaknesses of this ship. There's also the fact that the AP Citadel only deals 8k damage on this, so that's of course another weakness. But it's not like the ship is purely made of weaknesses. First of all, it's quite fast, 27.5 knots for tier 4, that's quite fast for a battleship. Second of all, it's got really good firing angles, meaning if you look at the bottom left, you can see how angled my ship is, but I'm still able to bring all my guns to bear. So I'm able to angle myself quite steeply while still being able to fire full broadside. That's of course a significant strength, because angles matter a lot. And of course, what else would I completely lost my train of thought. Well, Omaha giving me broadside, that's a Citadel. Of course, even though, yeah, of course, the amount of guns. You have a total of 10 guns, 5 turrets. So as you can see, even though if you don't land too many shells, just landing a few, especially on broadside and cruisers, lets you pump out a nice chunk of damage. This guy's still giving me broadside. As was some nice RNG that I only had 1 turret to fire, since I fired 4 turrets, getting a 3rd Citadel. I'm basically deleting an Omaha, a T5 cruiser, on my T4 battleship. So even if this is not one of the strongest premiums by any means, it certainly still has potential, and it certainly still has some strength. I mean, in the end, it's still a battleship, and battleships, regardless of what you might read elsewhere, are still strong ships. Okay, that's a bit of a Hail Mary. He's showing me, that's Kuma, they have very large citadels, he's showing me broadsides. Oh, and I got a Citadel on it. That's of course a bit of RNG, like everyone who plays battleships know that if you fire 1 turret, even if your aim is true, like it was there, it's not by any means a guarantee that your shells will land. I shot at him even though he was angled at me, because first of all, it's a Kuma, the armor is very thin. Second of all, up at this range, I'm pretty much shooting plunging fire because of the pitiful range on the Ishi. So landing a Citadel as I did there is very likely. Or well, provided the shells land where they're supposed to, it's very likely. Trying to see if I can get some damage on the Isokaza. 800, not much. But then again, considering low tier DDs have like 10k HP, 800 is 8%, so always something. Always good to weaken them whenever you can. See if I can finish off the Kuma. I only have 2 turrets as my turrets are turning. The turret traverse isn't too bad. I mean, it's not stellar, but I've certainly sailed worse battleships with worse turret traverse than this one. So, not bad, ultimately. Okay, the game decided I wanted to shoot the island instead of the DD on the other side of the island. That bug is a bit annoying, and one could wish it would get fixed. But overall, like, I like the maneuverability of the ship, and I like the firing angles of the ship. Of course, the dispersion could use, but then it could use some improvements, but I think anyone who plays any battleship feels that way, except maybe like the Yamato, that has superbly good dispersion, and it feels like you're shooting railguns. But in general, I don't mind the ship. Like, a lot of people told me to use HE on it, because it has quite strong HE. You do 5.2k damage with a high chance of fire, so the HE is obviously strong. but for the sake of this commentary, I decided to use almost purely AP because the AP is also very, very potent, and I feel people have been too quick on giving up on the AP of the ship. Like, it has 305mm guns. They're not amazing, but you're not facing amazing armor either. If you face your own tier ships, and even sometimes one tier higher, you do okay. Of course, I don't know, does this have premium matchmaking? I can't even remember. But most of the time you'll end up facing T3, T4, T5, around your own stuff. And it does quite okay against it. Of course it struggles against T5s, but then again, T5 battleships, that is T5 cruisers, it can easily melt. But T5 battleships, but then again, every single battleship in the game pretty much struggles if they're up against one higher tier. That's just the way it goes for battleships. They do not scale very well because you get issues like larger caliber guns overmatching your armor and such, making it hard to angle and having issues to penetrate their armor. I turned into the Ishizuchi there because it was obvious he was going to torp me, making it quite easy to dodge his torps. Keeping a straight course for now. He's turning again. He's showing broadside. My guess is he's launching another volley of torps here. So I joked that I'm turning left, but then instead I turn hard right now. So hopefully his prediction will be too far to the left of me, because I'm pretty sure he was torping there. Yeah, he was, exactly as I said, he was torping there, so I basically managed to outplay him. The rudder shift isn't too bad, it's like 12 seconds, and that's enough to be able to do small maneuvers like that and get away with it and still dodge the torps. So, once again, not great, but certainly not terrible. You can certainly use it to your strengths. I locked onto my secondaries. This ship actually has a lot of secondaries, but the biggest issue with the secondaries is that the 152mm secondaries, which is basically the ones that are surrounding your entire ship, the ones that you have the most of, they sadly fire AP and not HE. HE firing secondaries are much stronger because they're stronger against DDs, you get fires against other battleships and such, whereas the AP ones are usually bouncing or overpenning or just not being as strong. Yeah, this guy asked if I'm recording, I'll tell him, I decided to make a commentary. Kuma showing me broadside. Ah shit, I shouldn't have been typing here. Shouldn't have typed. He's got time to turn now, because instead of shooting right away, I was telling him that I'm making a commentary. So he got time to turn his ship around before I shot. But that's not really the ship's fault, it's just me typing in chat like an idiot instead of focusing on the commentary as I should be. I turned slightly towards it and slowed down though, because I predicted the torp spread. I only ate one, that's not too bad, and I killed him before he could fire another volley. Or well, no I didn't, but I turned against him. Basically, by slowing down and turning your ship, you make it quite hard for these guys to do the good torps off on you. And I'm taking quite a significant amount of damage because, well, on the other end here there's an Conga, an RPA, aka another Conga, and a Wyoming. And the armor on the ship, you don't really do too well with the armor on the ship, it's quite easy to overmatch it. But the game is about to end anyways, we have complete control of their cap, so rather than... I could farm some damage going for this Wyoming giving me full broadside, but I have no interest. I'd rather just try to kill off some of them before this game inevitably ends. But you could see just how much damage the Wyoming did to me. I was angled quite well, but he just punched straight through my armor. I think he did a good maybe 15k damage, even though I was so well angled and he didn't really citadel me. Congas as well, significant amount of damage done to me. Fully angled, I think he missed a bit as well. I managed to bounce most of his shells, but the game ended. This was, what, less than a 10-minute game? Still, 82k damage, 3 kills, 7 citadels. I managed to, well, pretty much carry, I guess. And if this was against T4, T5. Oh, a couple T3s though. 9 minute 20 second game, and still like a significant amount of damage and significant amount of impact on the game. So even though this was given to me more as a troll gift, I don't think this ship is that bad. As usual, I will start with the modules. or well, since it's a premium, not much to talk about. Consumable wise, I always prefer the premium repair because usually it reduces the reload time a chunk. In this case it reduces by 36 seconds, which considering how much HE spam there is low tier, definitively worth it. The premium repair party is optional. I prefer it once again for the lower cooldown and all, and one additional repair. But this is more optional, but I would say having a better repair on battleships is pretty much mandatory, because otherwise you're gonna take so much unnecessary fire damage that you could have easily prevented, especially considering the cost is only 22k credits, which really isn't that much. Upgrade wise, there's only 2 slots, so we go for the main guns, obviously, and damage control. Since you're a battleship, you rarely lose engine or steering. Captain perks wise, first one, well, honestly, I of course use my Yamato captain on this one, but I recommend situation awareness on all battleships. On this ship, it's surprisingly unnecessary to get it though, because well, it's got such insane concealment, and at low tier you're basically spotted from the other end of the map straight at the start. Being unspotted is actually a rarity, which is pretty much the only reason you would have situation awareness on this ship, is to know when you're not spotted. So probably still take it first because it's such a good perk, but it's not as important. Like going basics of survivability first on the Ishi isn't a bad choice at all. Ultimately, I always recommend getting both of these on battleships though, because they're so strong. 2-pointer is expert marksman, naturally, because no other perk is valuable for a battleship, whereas this one is by far the most important. Third perk here, I would definitely get vigilance. Since you're T4, you're really in that torp spamming phase where basically you face a bunch of minikazes, isokazes, kamikazes. There's all these Clemsons and even the Russian DDs that have a shit ton of torps, and all the cruisers, Kumas, Phoenixes, all of them have torps as well. So getting that extra warning time on the torps are probably worth it, because otherwise you're gonna end up eating them. You saw how much torpedo dodging I did in the game, so you can see just how useless vigilance is. And once again, for battleships in general, I always recommend going advanced firing training next, unless of course you're at Torpedo, in which case manual fire control is far superior. But if we're looking strictly at the Ishizuchi and not the higher tier battleships, then you don't really do much with advanced firing training, because your anti-air is so goddamn bad that it's probably worth going superintendent before going anything else. But if you're just using the normal battleship captains like I do, then save up for advanced next, since you want the buffed range of both secondaries and AA. And after that, superintendent, high alert, and finally last point into basic firing training. I don't value it that highly, especially on Japanese battleships, because your anti-air really isn't that important, whereas being able to repair fires and flooding 10 seconds earlier, or well 10% earlier, which is usually about 6 seconds on high tier, is much more useful. Anyway, that was my short Ishizuchi commentary. I hope you enjoyed it.